Hello there. Welcome to my GTM.io's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to focus on 10 hard rules for outsourcing work to freelancers as a new business or startup founder that is coming onto the scene, especially on the scene of freelancing contracting work. These 10 hard rules are rules that I developed over since 2018 2017, sorry, when I first joined Upwork officially as an 18-year-old teenager at the point. And in essence, I've earned over 100,000 US dollars on Upwork, as well as spent at least 6,000 US dollars on Upwork hiring other freelancers. And I've also spent maybe up to 10, anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 hiring freelancers through Fiverr. So I really have a good baseline and context and experience with freelancing platforms, specifically Upwork and Fiverr. And today I'm going to distill 10 hard rules for outsourcing work to freelancers that I believe your business should follow in order to build successful relationships with freelancers that do drive ultimately an increase in revenue for your business. Okay, so rule number one is give freelancers the benefit of the doubt. Most people approach freelancers with a bias, and unfortunately, that's because they don't trust them. They think that these are people who are scammy, malicious, or evil, posing to be good freelancers or good people on a freelancing platform. But that's completely not the case. You need to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are good as they share on their profile, that they can deliver the kind of work they share on their profile, and that they will deliver on the commitment and implicit contractual messages that you share with them, that they will do good on them and actually deliver what they've promised you in the end. You need to give the benefit of the doubt, otherwise, you will always have a micromanaging, lingering doubt in the back of your mind that is impacting the way you show up and treat freelancers, and that might lead to them giving you a bad review or dropping you hot like a hot potato as soon as they detect the fact that you're not giving them the benefit of the doubt. They are freelancer after all, they're working autonomously. They don't have a lot of clients and they're trying to make a living out of working with different clients. So you will only make it more stressful for them and less impactful and valuable to your company when you engage them in a doubtful way, or you don't give them the benefit of the doubt. So number two, we have if you can't trust freelancers, the bias is yours to unlearn. So that goes for Upwork and Fiverr as well. That the talent is real and you doubting it costs you value. It pretty much means that you don't actually pay for for who can give you the best value, but you're going to pay somebody based on who you feel most comfortable trusting. And to be honest, just to be very honest and not to flirt too much with the race topic, but I think a lot of freelancers and it goes both ways. I think white people who are hiring on Upwork tend to want to work with somebody who's also white or Caucasian. And that's fine. That's fine because entrepreneurs of color tend to want to hire other freelancers of color, right? So that's totally fine that people do that. But my thing is that if you're hiring based on your race, you're not going to hire the best person, period. Whether you're doing it as a black founder, Asian founder, person of color, to hiring another person of color, or as a white person hiring another white person to work with you, you're simply limiting the access to talent that you truly have on platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. And you also do find other cases where there's a white individual or a client who wants to only work with people of color. That's also not fair in my opinion. Nor is it fair for you to say, I'm a person of color, I only trust white people or a certain type of person, kind of ethnicity to do the work that I have. So if you can't trust them, the bias is definitely in you. You're biased in some way, and it's time to admit it because that is costing you real dollar value on missing out on the best talent to serve you. Rule number three. So haggling is fun. It sounds like you're saving huge costs on when you haggle, when you bring the freelancer down to the cheapest price. It sounds like it's the smartest thing for you to do. I mean, of all things, you're running on a shoestring budget, so you don't have all the money to splurge on paying a freelancer 20, 30 US dollars an hour, right? But don't do that. Don't haggle. Don't haggle for the point and sake of haggling, because you are just going to pretty much put the freelancer into a mindset of like, well, let me just do whatever I have to say to work with this client, even though I'm only getting $3 and my hourly rate is $12. That's totally fine. I can take that on at that rate. And what I'm going to do as a freelancer working with you like that, though, is I am definitely going to enter a mindset where I'm trying to cut corners. I'm trying to reduce the time spent without caring about the value I'm giving you, but just focusing on reducing my time spent so that I do not operate at a huge loss to myself of saving you for $3 when I'm charging $12 on my profile. So don't haggle, because you're only going to put the freelancer in the worst state. Be confident in your budget. If your budget is $5 an hour or $50 an hour, doesn't matter. As long as you know what your budget is to work with a freelancer, then focus on going with a freelancer that is happiest to work with you at that rate, and not force somebody who has a specific and needs skill set or is upcoming on these platforms and haggle them down to a low price just because you know that you do have the leverage over them to get. They seem desperate in the messaging. Maybe they haven't had a contract in a while, or they have a small set of orders in a queue on Fiverr. Don't take advantage. Please pay people for what they truly are asking because of the skill set and experience they have. Number four is that you need to be prepared to write, and I mean this, you need to be prepared to write long and very, very long documents, emails, and messages on Upwork or Fiverr to guide the freelancer and to unlock their best thinking. Because what this does is it doesn't just make you a fancy pantsy business person who's documenting everything. No, what it does, it really does this specific thing. It unlocks context and a decision-making framework that is consistently reliable and dependable for the freelancer, for them to act, to use your thinking and take charge with it autonomously at any hour that they're working, whether that's 3 a.m. for them when it's 10 p.m. for you, or when it's 8 a.m. for them and it's 6 p.m. for you. Doesn't matter, right? Documentation gives more autonomy and authority to the freelancer, enabling them to do their best thinking and creative work. All right. Rule number 5. Don't tank careers with bad reviews. So people want to come on a freelancing platform like Upwork or Fiverr, and they think like they own the world and the whole world should gravitate towards their opinion and what they want and the iteration and the feedback and the revisions they want to do, even though they're going overboard beyond the revisions that were initially negotiated between you and a freelancer. Do not give a bad review for the sake of ruining somebody's career. It is bad karma. In my, however you want to frame that, it's up to you. But ultimately, it's not cool. It's something that once you do, you will always work with people in a way that you want to communicate that you can always give them a bad review. And trust me, eventually you'll be the one getting bad reviews, because freelancers will pick up that that's your it's a large thesis and operating mindset that you have, that they will eventually sniff it out and give you a bad review when you've given a freelancer a good review. So the tables will turn, and from that point on, your profile will suffer. No quality people want to work with you, especially not top-rated rising talent or top-rated plus freelancers in the Upwork context. And you also have a suite of a rating system in Upwork, and I mean on Fiverr, that recognizes excellent talent on Fiverr. Number 6, freelancers are not an oxen that you bred for 3 years in your own farm for it to just specifically come and plow your field of whatever your crops are whenever you want them and whenever you decide that they should stop or start working. That is not what a freelancer is. I know they're still called freelancers today, and that's a good word, I think, overall, but it does have some negative connotations and put some people into perspectives that the freelancer can just, you can just, like, it's like a freelancer is a software though, right? Where you just press a key and it does something, you press another key and it does something. Freelancers have opinions, they have perspective, they have experience, and obviously then that means that they're not always going to align with what you think, because you actually are the worst and the one who sucks at the knowledge and the domain of expertise they operate in. So you need to be doing more of the following than doing the leading, in this case. So don't treat them like an ox plowing a field that you've bred specifically over 2 years to come and do this so that you have the authority over them. Treat them as a human being that is actually far superior than you are in the domain of expertise they serve in. Awesome. So rule number seven, sorry, is never pay outside of Upwork. That sucks because you're taking advantage of the Upwork platform, which has done so much for freelancers across the globe over the last 20 years. Um, and ultimately, you are actually removing the credibility you could portray to future top-rated and top-rated plus freelancers because you have a lot of reviews and a huge account on Upwork. Trust me, when I'm looking at jobs on Upwork, I no longer just count the reviews. I care so much about how much you've spent on the platform. So keeping everything on Upwork only makes you a more lucrative client to work with. Awesome. All right. So rule number 8, don't commoditize talent. I see a lot of clients approach me and they on Upwork. That's where I do most of my freelance, all my freelancing. I just do hiring on Fiverr. So most of the stuff I'm commenting on is in the Upwork context. I noticed that a lot of clients approach me and they say, "You're from Namibia, you're from Nigeria, right?" After like even exchanging a long thread of messages, and they claim to have reviewed my profile, and we've even maybe been we're even probably on our third call since the beginning of the relationship. They're still going to assume that I'm from Nigeria. Africa and other places in the world have a lot more to offer in terms of countries, in terms of identity and names as well. So when you are looking at talent, don't just see people who are, let's say, Indian, African, or American or white, and then you think like, you're just looking at people who could either say the same hourly rate, and therefore they're all equally the same. Whoever I can haggle down to a lower price, that's who I'm going to go with. Or whoever can tell me that they'll deliver my work quickest, that's who I am going to go with. That is not how it works. You need to take special care in reading Upwork freelancers' profiles and their past work and reviews as well, until you kind of understand what their special sauce is, the unique flair that they carry and that they use and deliver their work with. Nail it down to that and know their names actually, unto their last name. You should at least know that I'm shortlisting 3 people, and this is their first name, this is their last name, this is what their flair is, this is what their weakness is, and so forth and so on. That's going to make sure that you've actually spent enough time reviewing freelancers, not even only on Upwork, but perhaps even post on or look for the same service on Fiverr, right? So just do that, because you need to treat hiring freelancers the same way you would hire literally like an operations person on your team, in the USA, Canada, Europe, wherever you're based. And so you need to treat this hire very seriously. And the only way you're going to do that is if you stop having a commoditization approach and mindset about freelancers on any of the platforms that I'm talking about. So rule number 9, pay on their terms within your budget. So if a freelancer needs you to pay them a fixed price contract or a fixed price or hourly rate, if that's what they're looking for, which Fiverr now allows hourly rates as well, you need to make sure that you do it on their terms and on the way that they like. Obviously, you shouldn't cross the budget, nonetheless, that you do have. So if you have $50 to spend, and the best freelancer out of the 3 that you've shortlisted and that you know by name, hopefully, is asking for a fixed price contract, give them the fixed price contract. Why? Because if they have good results and good portfolio items and good reviews, trust them to deliver against the mode of payment that they like. And trust me, just because you want to pay hourly to make sure that you're controlling the cost for every hour that goes by, doesn't mean that you are actually unlocking and permitting a freelancer to work in the best way possible for you. So let go of your petty desire to pay per hour or to pay per project, and just get on with what they need to be paid and how they need to be paid. And obviously, don't make sure that it's under your budget and you're safe like that. Lastly, always pilot the work. Trust me, it doesn't make any sense to jump into anything full speed and drawing up long contracts, employment contracts. That doesn't work. You're probably not going to be working together in 3 months from now. Just swallow that pill. And as a freelancer, you should know that. As a client, I hope I'm preaching this to you so that you know it. So pilot the work in a smaller sample size, and then you'll get to see how things work. You'll also get to scope out your project a lot more, because oftentimes clients actually don't know what they really need. So pilot the work to see what a small portion of it looks like, and then it will give you a better vision as to what the rest of the project and work required should be. That's been me, Brian Akambonde. from my GTM.io. I hope I've been helpful in giving you the hard rules to use when you're hiring on Fiverr and Upwork. That's definitely how it goes down. And with these rules, trust me, you'll be successful. You have long-lasting relationships. I've been on Upwork for 10 years, on Fiverr probably for 5 years, and I know my freelancers and my people and my clients by name, by email, and we're just getting on amazingly well 10 years later. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching.